Where is she? I must have asked that question 100 times, but no one had an answer. My mom just kept adjusting the garland on my neck, pretending like everything was fine. My dad's eyes avoided mine, glued to his phone, and the priest kept mumbling verses like we weren't missing the bride. Ishan, she'll be here. It's just cold feet. Every bride gets nervous, someone muttered behind me. I couldn't tell who. Everything sounded like it was underwater. My heartbeat had crawled into my ears and refused to leave. I pulled out my phone again. Still no calls. No messages. Then ping. I froze. It was her. I'm sorry. I can't do this. 14 letters. 1 period. And a universe collapsed. What? I whispered, blinking like the screen had glitched. I stared at it, hoping the rest of the message would load. It didn't. Ishan. Arjun's voice sliced through the fog. What's wrong? I couldn't breathe. My fingers were trembling. I handed him my phone. He read the message. His expression twisted just slightly. Damn. She really bailed. Shut up. Sorry. That came out wrong. Wow. I turned around, eyes scanning the crowd. Her family, her sister. Everyone looked confused. No one looked surprised. That hurt more than it should have. She was fine yesterday. I said, we laughed. We made jokes about running away together after the ceremony. She kissed my forehead. Why would she? People change their minds, man. Not Rhea. Not like this. I walked away from the mandip, the music turning into static behind me, the floral decorations blurred. Everything looked like a movie set collapsing. I needed air. Ishan, wait. Arjun followed me. Hey, listen, let's just talk. Don't spiral. I'm not spiraling. Sure, that's why your hands are shaking. I stared at my palm. He was right. My hand looked like it belonged to someone twice my age. Someone tired. Someone who just got left at the altar. I don't get it. I whispered. We were happy. I proposed to her with her favorite song playing in the background. She cried. She said yes. How the hell does someone walk away from that? He sat beside me on the temple stairs. Sometimes love's not enough. I snapped my head toward him. Don't say that. I'm just saying maybe she saw something she didn't like. Or someone. What do you mean? He shrugged. You know, someone better suited. Someone with more stability. More presence. My eyes narrowed. Are you saying I wasn't enough for her? No, not saying that. He smirked. Just that maybe she wanted more than you. I stood up. What the hell are you trying to say, Arjun? He held up his hands. Relax. I'm trying to help you see the bigger picture. There's no picture anymore. She was the picture. She was... I choked. The words stuck in my throat like glass shards. Arjun stood now, brushing imaginary dust from his kurta. You know, people always say heartbreak makes you stronger. Maybe this is your origin story or something. Origin story? Yeah. Hero loses a girl, finds himself. Classic arc. I didn't ask for an arc. I just wanted her. You'll survive, he said. You always do. I clenched my fists. Why are you even here? Because I'm your best friend. Remember? Were you? I didn't say it out loud. I couldn't trust my voice. Not with the chaos clawing at my chest. I turned away, trying to remember the last time she smiled at me. The way she used to call me Ishi when no one else was around. The night we danced under Diwali lights on her terrace. Her head resting on my shoulder like it belonged there. Don't ever leave me, I had whispered. She'd kissed my cheek. You'd have to die to get rid of me. Guess I died. A commotion erupted near the gate. Someone was talking to a reporter. Cameras were out. God, they'd eat this up. Groom abandoned at the altar. She's gone, I murmured, and she didn't even have the guts to say it to my face. Ishan, Arjun said softly, you can either fall apart now or figure out what's next. I looked at him, really looked. His eyes didn't hold sympathy. They held satisfaction. Just for a second. Then it vanished. I walked away again, each step heavier than the last. Past the hall where my name was painted next to hers. Past the stage where we were supposed to sit, smiling for fake photos. Past everything. I didn't know where I was going. Just away, because staying felt like dying. My phone buzzed again. Another message? No, it was a call. Rhea. I stared at the screen like it was haunted. I answered. Rhea? Silence. Breathing. Then, I'm sorry, Sean, she said, her voice breaking. I had to. Why? I can't explain now. Just, I had no choice. Don't do that. Don't vanish and then drop riddles. I'm sorry, she repeated. Please don't look for me. Rhea, wait, what's going on? Is someone making you? Call ended. I stared at the screen, fists clenched. Something wasn't right. She didn't leave me. She was running. And I was going to find out why. The darkness was suffocating. It wrapped around me like a heavy blanket, making it impossible to breathe. I hadn't left my apartment in days, not since the wedding day that was supposed to be the happiest of my life. Instead, I was left alone, abandoned, with nothing but the ghosts of memories and the unanswered questions that lingered like a wound that wouldn't heal. I couldn't stop replaying that day in my mind. The moment I saw her walking away, Rhea, the woman I had promised to spend the rest of my life with, was etched into my soul. She left without a word, without even a glance back. I don't know if I was more hurt by her betrayal or by the fact that she didn't seem to care. The pain twisted inside me, gnawing at me until I thought I might collapse. I leaned back against the wall, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ever find peace again. What did I do wrong? I whispered to the empty room. Was I not enough for her? Was I not good enough? Why did she leave? I ran my hand through my hair, frustration boiling in my chest. There were no answers, only silence, only the sound of my own broken heart. I wanted to scream, but no sound would come. It felt like I was drowning in the weight of my thoughts, each one sinking me deeper into despair. Then, a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. Not that I wanted anyone. But the knock came again, soft, almost hesitant. I dragged myself to the door and swung it open. Nina stood there, her expression unreadable. She was a co-worker, someone I barely knew, but somehow she was always there, always quietly observing, always offering an unexpected word of kindness when no one else did. Hey, Ishan, I brought you some food, she said, holding up a takeout bag. You need to eat. I stared at her for a moment. I'm not hungry. I didn't ask if you were, she replied, stepping past me and into the apartment before I could protest. I brought it anyway. You can either eat it or you can stare at it while you wallow. I blinked, caught off guard by her bluntness. Nina didn't pity me. She didn't seem concerned about my sadness the way everyone else had been, offering hollow words of sympathy. She didn't see me as some fragile thing. She didn't treat me like I was broken, even though I felt like I was. Instead, she challenged me in a way that no one else had. I sat down at the kitchen table, but I didn't touch the food. I couldn't. My stomach felt like it had turned to stone. You don't have to pretend to be fine with me, Nina said, sitting across from me, her eyes steady and unblinking. I know you're not, but you can't keep living like this, Ishan. You have to face it. Face what happened. I shook my head, feeling a surge of anger bubble up. You don't know anything about it. You don't know what it's like to have someone you love walk away like that. You don't understand how it feels. Maybe not, she said, her voice calm, unshaken. But I know this. You're not going to find the answers by sitting here and drowning in your own misery. You won't get Rhea back by punishing yourself. I didn't want her to leave, I muttered, my voice cracking. I felt the rawness of it, the weight of the truth in my chest. I didn't want to be alone. I never wanted to be alone. Nina's gaze softened, but she didn't let me off the hook. Then stop living like you are. You're not alone, Ishan. Not in the way you think. You don't have to go through this in silence. I felt the tears threatening to break free, but I held them back. Crying wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't bring Rhea back, wouldn't undo the hurt. Nina sighed, and reached over to place something on the table in front of me. It was a letter. It looked old, frayed at the edges, like it had been tucked away for years. "What is this?" I asked, confused. "Something you might want to read." Nina said, standing up, "I'll let you have some space to think." She walked toward the door, but before leaving, she paused and looked back at me. "You're not broken, Sean," she said quietly. "You're just lost. And I think you can find your way again if you're willing to." The door closed softly behind her, and I was left alone with the letter. The familiar handwriting on the front sent a sharp jolt through me. It was Ria's. With trembling hands, I opened it, the paper creasing under my fingers. The words inside were incomplete, the message unfinished, as though she had started to say something and then stopped. She never sent it. She never finished it. The letter began with, "I don't know how to say this, but I can't go through with it. I've been pretending for so long." I stopped reading. My heart was pounding in my chest, and I felt like I might suffocate from the weight of it. This letter was the only thing she left behind, the only piece of her that hadn't vanished with her. And now, it was all I had left. But even with this, I didn't know if I could breathe without her. "Ishan, you sure you don't want to eat something?" Tanya asked, peeking into my room with a hesitant smile. I shook my head. "I'm good." "Liar," she said, stepping in. "You look like a ghost. A hungry one." I forced a smile, not bothering to argue. She walked over and flopped down on the beanbag near the window. "Remember when we were kids? You and Arjun would steal all the ice cream, and I had to bribe Ria just to get one spoon." Ria, her name in someone else's mouth, still hit like a truck. I stayed silent, staring at the faint reflection of my face in the dark window pane. Tanya sighed. "Look, I know it's all messed up, but Arjun's just a shaken. He barely speaks." "Really?" My voice cracked. "That's convenient. He had so much to say that day, though. You know, about how she left." Tanya frowned. "He told me you two talked before the wedding." I blinked. "What?" "Yeah." He said he saw Ria." Her eyes widened, and she clamped a hand over her mouth. "Crap. Forget I said that." My heart thudded. "He saw Ria? Before the wedding?" "Ishan, I didn't mean to." "When? Where?" He said it was nothing. That she came to the hotel to drop off. Something. He told me not to mention it. Heat rushed to my face. He lied to me. He said he hadn't seen her at all. That she ghosted both of us. Tanya's face fell. "I thought you knew." "No, I didn't." I stood up. "Thanks, Tanya." "Ishan." I walked past her, ignoring the way my pulse raced. I went straight to the living room where Arjun was sprawled on the couch, eyes glued to his phone. "You lied to me." He looked up. "What?" "You said you hadn't seen Ria, that she just vanished. But Tanya says otherwise." He paused and slowly sat up. "I didn't want to upset you." "Upset me?" "You looked me in the eye and made me feel like I was crazy." "Ishan, you told me she didn't contact anyone, that she left without a word." "She did. But she came to see you before the wedding." Arjun ran a hand through his hair. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" I demanded. She showed up at the hotel. Said she needed to talk. She was confused. Scared. "Scared of what?" He hesitated. "Of you." I staggered back. "What?" She said you'd been distant. Cold. That you didn't seem sure. "That's a lie. I'm just telling you what she said." She didn't even talk to me that day. You think I wouldn't have noticed if she was scared? You think I wouldn't have. You didn't see yourself those last few weeks. You were off. Off. I laughed bitterly. I was stressed, planning a wedding, handling work. She said she wasn't sure she could go through with it. "And she told you that?" "Not me." He didn't answer, just looked down. "She came to you." "Not me." "Why?" "I don't know." "Bullshit. You always had a thing for her." His head snapped up. "What the hell are you saying? You were always around, always helping. You think I didn't notice? That's insane." "Is it? Then why hide that you saw her?" "Because it didn't matter." Clearly it did. We stood in silence, breathing hard. I turned away. Get out. Ishan. Get out. He grabbed his jacket and walked to the door. For what it's worth, I never wanted this. Yeah? Me neither. The door slammed shut behind him. I sat down, my legs weak, my mind flooded with flashes. Arjun walking out of the suite that morning, saying he was going to get coffee. Ria's note on my pillow, written hours before anyone realized she was gone. Arjun avoided my eyes when I read it aloud. All of it, every moment, twisting now, my fists clenched. He knew, and he lied. He looked me in the face, watched me fall apart, and stayed silent. The ache in my chest wasn't just pain anymore. It was anger, not wild, not blind, cold, precise. For the first time in days, I felt something sharp, clarity. I wasn't broken. I was awake, and I was going to find out the truth, no matter what it cost. I stood there at the entrance of Ria's new home, my chest tight, heart pounding like it was about to burst through my ribs. The house was massive, something out of a dream, or maybe a nightmare. The polished marble floors, the high ceilings, the modern decor. Everything screamed wealth. Everything screamed that she was better off without me. She opened the door, her face expressionless. Ishan, she said, her voice colder than I remembered. Ria. My voice faltered for a second. Then I forced myself to steady it. I needed to see you, to understand. She stepped aside, wordlessly letting me in. I didn't wait for an invitation to speak. I thought I had you, but then you left me. You chose him over me. She didn't flinch. Her eyes didn't soften. I didn't leave you, Ishan. I chose security. I chose a life that made sense. I'm not sorry for it. My breath hitched. Security? I asked, my voice rising. What about us? What about everything we shared? All those plans, those promises? Was that just nothing? She crossed her arms, her gaze fixed on me with a quiet defiance. We were never enough, Ishan. You were a gamble, and when it came down to it, I chose a safe bet. I felt something crack deep inside me. A safe bet? I whispered, my words trembling. You think I was just a gamble? Was I that disposable to you? Her expression didn't change, but I saw the slightest flicker of something like regret, like doubt, behind her eyes. But it was gone before I could hold on to it. I wasn't willing to risk my future for an uncertain love. Uncertain? I asked, my voice raw. Our love was everything to me. You were everything to me. And now you're telling me that it wasn't enough. She sighed, a small, almost imperceptible sigh. I didn't want to lose everything, Ishan. Samir offered me a life that didn't make me question my worth every single day. I wanted to scream, to tell her how she had broken me, how I was still broken, how I would never be whole again. But I stayed quiet. So you're happy then? She didn't answer immediately, and for a split second I saw it, a shadow of doubt flickering in the depths of her eyes. She wasn't as sure as she pretended to be, but she quickly masked it with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I'm fine, Ishan. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Her words hit me like a slap. I nodded slowly, trying to force the lump in my throat down. You still wear it, I said, my voice quiet now, as I pointed to the pendant that hung beneath her blouse, the one I had given her all those years ago. For a moment, she looked down at it, her fingers brushing the pendant lightly, as though trying to hide it. Then she lifted her gaze back to mine. It's just a piece of jewelry, Ishan. Nothing more. But I could see it in her eyes, the way she avoided my gaze, the way her fingers hesitated before she touched it. She hadn't let go. She hadn't moved on completely, no matter how hard she tried to convince me otherwise. I swallowed, trying to hold back the tears that threatened to break free. So this is it then? This is how it ends. Her face softened for just a moment, but it was brief. So brief that if I hadn't been looking for it, I would have missed it. Ishan, I'm sorry, but this is the life I chose, and I'm not going back. I nodded, even though every fiber of my being screamed for me to beg her, to plead with her to come back to me. But I didn't. I couldn't. I just wanted you to be happy, Ria. I wanted us to be happy. Her eyes flickered for a second. I know, but I'm sorry. This is my choice. She wasn't looking at me anymore. I wasn't sure if she even realized it, but she was already moving on, and I was still stuck in the past. I turned to leave, my body heavy, my heart shattering all over again. But just as I reached the door, I paused. You still have the pendant, I said, my voice breaking. And you still think of me. You're not as fine as you want me to believe. She didn't answer. I didn't expect her to. I walked out, the door shutting softly behind me, leaving me alone in the vast emptiness of everything that had once been ours. I sat across from Tanya, my hands clenched into fists, still trembling from the storm of emotions that had been swirling in my chest since that phone call. I didn't know if I was angry, devastated, or both. I wasn't sure if I could handle another bombshell, but Tanya's face, grave and tight, told me I had no choice. Tell me everything, Tanya. I need to know. I demanded, voice hoarse. Every second I spent waiting for her words felt like 1,000 needles piercing my skin. Tanya hesitated, her fingers twitching on the table before her. I'm sorry, Ishan. I should have told you earlier. I didn't know how to. I shook my head. Just tell me. Don't hold anything back. She took a deep breath. Rhea didn't just leave because of some misunderstanding. Arjun played a part in it. She paused, watching my face carefully. I felt my heart drop into my stomach. Arjun? That bastard? What did he do? Tanya's eyes met mine, guilt reflected in them. He manipulated her. He made her believe you were cheating on her, that you had no intention of staying with her. My breath caught in my throat. The words didn't make sense. But I wasn't. I never did. I could feel the hot, burning anger bubbling up inside of me, my fists tightening further. How could she believe that? Tanya bit her lip, then whispered. He forged messages. Made it look like you were talking to other women, even sent fake photos. He wanted to make sure she left you. My mind was spiraling. So she thought I was cheating? Yes, Tanya whispered. But it wasn't just that. He convinced her that your future was already decided, that you two would never last, that everything she had hoped for with you was just a dream. The rage inside me turned to a dull ache, sinking deep into my chest. How could she believe it? How could she not ask me? How could she not trust me enough to know that I would have never, ever hurt her? I slammed my palm on the table, the sound sharp and echoing in the quiet. Ishan, Tanya started, her voice small, almost apologetic. You don't get it. I snapped. She left because she couldn't even trust me enough to ask for the truth. She just ran, just like that. And I cut myself off, my throat tight, my breath shallow. She killed our future because she couldn't ask me for the truth. Tanya looked down at her hands, guilt written all over her face. I know, Ishan. I know, but she was panicked. He made her believe that you'd already moved on. But I hadn't. I wasn't cheating. I was shaking now, barely able to control the raw, broken emotion threatening to spill out. My heart felt like it was being crushed under the weight of everything I had learned in these few minutes. Why would she think that? Why would she believe Arjun over me? Because he made sure she didn't have a choice, Tanya said quietly. He wanted her away from you, no matter what it took. My head was spinning, and she never even asked me. She didn't trust me enough to ask. She just believed him. I know it hurts, but Tanya trailed off, her eyes sad. I know you loved her, Ishan, and you still do, but there's nothing you can do now. She's made her choice. I swallowed hard, the bitter taste of regret and loss filling my mouth. But why didn't she trust me? I whispered. After everything we had, how could she not even give me the chance to explain? Tanya's eyes softened, but she didn't answer. There was nothing to say. I closed my eyes, fighting back the tears. I had always believed in the future we could have had together. I had always thought that no matter what happened, she and I would make it through. But now, I was left wondering if I was ever really enough. The silence between us stretched, my mind racing. my heart breaking, knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. The future I had dreamed of had vanished the moment she turned her back and walked away. I sat at my desk, staring at the papers in front of me. There was a time when I would have ripped them to shreds, my hands shaking with the anger that I could never fully express. But now, all I had was silence. Silence that felt more powerful than any rage. It was the kind of silence that came from growth. I had learned to let go, to build something stronger than the wreckage I once was. "You're quiet today." Nina's voice broke my thoughts. She always seemed to know when I needed someone to notice. I didn't look up, just thinking. "You've been doing a lot of that lately," she said, walking closer. "You know, you don't have to carry everything on your own." "I'm not carrying anything," I replied, though I knew she wasn't buying it. She chuckled softly, sitting across from me. "I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the weight you keep trying to hide. You've been doing well, Ishan. Maybe it's time you accept that it's okay to be happy again." Her words hit me differently than they had in the past. There was no expectation, no pity, just understanding. I finally looked up. "I'm trying. But happiness, it's different now." "Different how?" "It's not about revenge anymore. It's about me. I'm not the same person who needed to tear things apart. That guy, the one who wanted revenge on everyone, he's gone." I paused, trying to wrap my head around it. "I'm building, Nina. I'm trying to build something better." She smiled. "I've noticed." I pushed the papers aside and leaned back in my chair. "I've been promoted at work. I'm mentoring some kids from underprivileged backgrounds. It's not much, but it feels like I'm doing something right for once." "You're doing a lot more than that," she said softly. "You're changing lives. You're giving them hope, even when you thought you had none." I chuckled darkly. I didn't expect this purpose. But it's real, and I think that's what matters now. She leaned forward, her eyes serious. "Ishan, you've done more than build yourself. You become someone others look up to. You're not just surviving anymore. You're thriving." Her words stung, but in a way that made me realize how true they were. I was thriving, emotionally, mentally, and, in some ways, even physically. All the pain had slowly turned into something useful. Not for revenge, not for hurting anyone, but for growth. I used to think silence was weakness. I confessed that not fighting back meant you were letting people walk all over you. But now, I see it differently. "How?" "My silence, it's louder than any scream. It's a power in itself. It says everything that needs to be said without uttering a word. And people notice. You've grown a lot, Ishan." She reached across the table and placed a hand on mine. "You're not the same person I met months ago. You're stronger, and you don't need anyone's approval for that." I looked at her hand, then into her eyes, realizing just how much she had helped me without asking for anything in return. "Thank you, Nina." She shook her head. "Don't thank me. Just keep going." I nodded, feeling a warmth spread through me. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I was on the right path. No more lies, no more destruction. Just building day by day. "I think I'm finally starting to get it," I said, my voice steadier than I'd ever felt. "I'm not defined by what happened to me. I'm defined by what I do now." Her smile was the only response I needed. And in that moment, I knew my silence was enough. I stared at the photo on my screen. Ria's wedding day. Her smile looked fake now. "She doesn't look happy," Kabir muttered, leaning over my shoulder. I didn't ask. "But you looked." "Curiosity isn't care." He raised an eyebrow. "You still love her." I laughed. "I still remember her. That's not the same." Kabir didn't push. He never did when I was like this, cold, clipped, pretending. I scrolled again. Ria's Instagram was private, but stories slipped through sometimes. She hadn't posted anything new in days. Samir's tagged her less and less. Kabir noted, "Trouble in paradise?" I didn't respond, but I noticed it too. No more couple reels. No cheesy captions. Just silence. Silence always meant something. My phone buzzed. Another anonymous message. Arjun's out. Fired. Finance fraud. Karma. I whispered. Kabir glanced at the screen. You didn't even say a word, and he still fell. I need to. People expose themselves when you stop reacting. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. He stole from my father. Kabir. Lied to him. Lied to me. And Rhea chose them. And now he's jobless, unemployable, and hated. Rhea? I didn't answer, but I thought of her. I wonder if she still smiled like she used to, wide and free, or if Samir had drained out of her. 1 week later, I got the DM. From a burner account. No name. No profile picture. He controls who I talk to, even what I wear. I can't breathe, Ishan. I blinked. My chest tightened. Kabir saw my face. What is it? I showed him. That's her. I know. She's watching you. I didn't block her. She never blocked you either. I sat there, frozen. My heart was screaming, but my mind stayed quiet. That night, I got another message. I saw your TEDx talk. You smiled again. I stared at the screen for so long, the light burned my eyes. You looked alive. I typed, deleted, typed again. You okay? It showed seen. Then nothing. No reply. Next morning, my phone rang. Kabir, you need to see this. I opened the link he sent, a leaked off his video. Arjun, screaming at someone, red-faced, security dragging him out. I watched in silence. He tried to blame you, said you manipulated numbers. Let him. But you didn't say a word. I didn't need to. I repeated. Truth has a voice. It just takes time to be heard. A week passed. More messages. He threw my phone once. I sleep on the edge of the bed. Like if I move wrong, I'll break something. I miss the girl I used to be. I wanted to call her. Just once. Hear her voice. Tell her I wasn't angry anymore. But I didn't. Because I didn't know if I believed that. Then something strange happened. Rhea liked an old photo on my page. One with her in the background, blurry, but there. Intentional. A quiet, I'm still here. That night, she messaged again. I found our photo. I sat up in bed. The one from your birthday. You were holding that horrible blue cake. I remembered it. She'd insisted on baking. It had caved in on one side. I smiled. It was still the best cake I've ever had. She replied, it's still in my drawer. Untouched. Same place. Same smell. I thought you'd have thrown it away. I couldn't. I didn't know what to say. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. She beat me to it. Sometimes I open the drawer just to see it. I swallowed hard. Why are you telling me this now? I whispered, even though she couldn't hear me. The typing bubble came up, then disappeared. Then again. Finally, because I think I chose wrong. And now I can't undo it. I felt something twist inside me. You left me, Rhea, on our wedding day. I know. You didn't even look back. I did. You just weren't looking when I did. My hands trembled. Rage and grief tangled inside me, impossible to separate. What do you want from me? Nothing. I just needed you to know I'm not okay. Silence. Then, are you? I stared at the screen. Was I typed slowly. I'm surviving. She replied, me too. And for once, it felt like the truth. I didn't hear her footsteps at first. It was only when the door creaked open that I looked up, barely lifting my gaze from the half-empty coffee cup in my hands. Rhea. I froze. My chest felt tight, and for a moment, the world around me seemed to blur. I hadn't seen her in so long. I wasn't sure if the anger or the hurt had faded, or if they'd grown stronger in her absence. But seeing her now, standing in front of me, those feelings collided, an explosion that I couldn't quite hold back. Is it really you? My voice came out rougher than I intended, almost like a breath I'd been holding for too long. She bit her lip, tears already gathering in her eyes. She looked fragile, like she hadn't slept in days, maybe longer. Ishan, she whispered, taking a tentative step toward me. I didn't know where else to go. I didn't respond. The silence between us was thick, like a wall I had built around myself and my heart. She took another step, closer this time, her voice trembling as she spoke again. I know what I did was unforgivable, and I know that you're angry. But please listen to me. Please. I closed my eyes for a second, trying to steady myself, but it didn't work. The anger, the betrayal, the confusion, it all surged up again, like a wave crashing against the shore. You left me. I finally said, my words sharper than I meant them to be. On the day of our wedding, Rhea, you left me. After everything we had, after everything we planned, you walked out, and you thought I'd just be okay with that. She flinched, but she didn't retreat. Instead, she stood there, her hands shaking, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm sorry, she choked out. I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. I was manipulated. Stop. I cut her off, standing up now, the anger rising in my chest again. You don't get to do this. You don't get to come back and play the victim. You made a choice. You chose to leave me behind. Don't act like this is all some mistake. She swallowed hard, tears slipping down her cheeks, but she didn't back down. I know, she said, her voice cracking. I know I messed up, and I hurt you. I hurt you in the worst way possible, and I'll never forgive myself for it. But Ishan, I need you to understand. I love you. I always have. I never stopped. I shook my head, taking a step back, trying to distance myself from her, from the storm of emotions that were tearing through me. You love me? I scoffed. Is that what you think this is? You love me? After everything you did? Her hands trembled as she reached out, but I didn't let her touch me. Not anymore. I wasn't thinking straight, she said, her voice full of desperation now. I was scared of everything, of losing myself, of what we were becoming. I didn't know how to be with you, with the life we were building. But it's different now, Ishan. I've changed. I've realized what I lost, what I pushed away. I looked at her for a long moment, her tear-streaked face, the tremble in her voice. But something inside me, something I hadn't even known was there, shifted. I couldn't go back to what we had. Not after everything that happened. You don't get it, I said, my voice low. I don't need you to survive anymore. I'm not the same person I was when you walked out that door. I rebuilt myself, piece by piece. And now I don't need you. Not to breathe, not to live, not to feel whole. Her breath hitched, and she dropped her gaze to the floor. I know I hurt you, Ishan, she whispered. I know I ruined everything. But I love you. I always will. Please, I'm sorry. Please give me another chance. I looked at her for a long time, the ache in my chest growing. For a moment I was tempted to forgive her, tempted to fall into the lie that maybe we could go back to the way things were. But I couldn't. Not anymore. I loved you, Rhea. I said, the words heavier than I ever expected. I loved you like you were my forever. But now, I just love myself more. She looked up at me, her eyes wide, as though my words had hit her like a physical blow. And I saw it then, the realization. She understood. She knew that I was no longer the person she had left behind. I wasn't the boy who needed her to survive. I wasn't that boy anymore. I walked away, leaving her standing there, broken, just like I once was. And as I left the room, I realized that this was the first time in a long while that I felt free. The lights were blinding, but I'd grown used to that. Rows of young faces stared up at me, wide-eyed, curious, waiting. I took a deep breath, adjusted the mic, and let the silence stretch for just a second longer. You ever wake up one morning, I said, voice steady, and realize your life doesn't belong to you anymore? A few heads nodded. A few looked confused. I smiled faintly. I was supposed to get married last year. Tux fitted, vows written. I thought I had it all figured out. I paused. She didn't show up. Gasps. Whispers. I leaned into the vulnerability. Let them see it wasn't just a story. It was me. I waited at the altar like a fool. Watched guests leave. Watched my mother cry. Watched the flowers die in their vases. And all I kept thinking was, what did I do wrong? A boy in the front row leaned forward. Good. They were listening. I stopped eating. Stopped sleeping. I deleted photos, then re-downloaded them, reread texts, tortured myself with memories. Because pain has a strange way of becoming your comfort zone. The room went quiet. But pain also teaches you things, like who you really are, who sticks around, what you need versus what you want. My eyes scanned the crowd, and then I saw her. Back row, black dress, hair pulled back. Rhea. My chest tightened, but I didn't flinch. Her eyes met mine. She didn't smile. She didn't look away either. I let the pause linger. 1 heartbeat. 2. And then I continued. One night, I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. That's when I decided. If she left me, I wasn't going to leave me too. A few people clapped softly. I held up a hand. I don't want applause. I'm not here because I survived heartbreak. I'm here because I rebuilt from it. I saw Rhea shift in her seat. She looked down for a second, then back up, still silent. There was this boy inside me who thought love was supposed to fix everything. That boy's gone now. I turned slightly, walking across the stage. I started going to the gym, not to punish myself, but to feel strong again. I took cold showers. I read books. I forgave people who never said sorry. The girl in the second row wiped her eyes. I'm not saying it was easy. I broke down, screamed into pillows, wrote angry letters I never sent. I looked back to Rhea. She was still there. But slowly I got up. I showed up, day after day. Someone asked from the middle row, "Do you still love her?" I chuckled, soft and honest. Love's complicated. It doesn't disappear, but it changes. Another voice. "Would you take her back?" I paused, looked straight at Rhea. She held my gaze. I smiled, genuine but final. "No," I said, "I wouldn't." The room was silent again. Because I don't want a version of me that waited at the altar. I want this version. The one who knows how to stand alone. A boy at the back raised his hand. "What would you say if she came up to you now?" I shrugged. "I'd say thank you." A ripple of surprise moved through the crowd. "She broke me," I said, "but in breaking me, she revealed what was already cracked. I just didn't see it." Rhea's lips parted slightly. She blinked, as if holding something in, and now I see clearly. I stepped back to the mic stand. My time was nearly up. Pain doesn't define you. Your response does. And sometimes the people who hurt us the most also give us the push we never knew we needed. I looked at Rhea one last time. She left me on my wedding day. I said quietly, and I thought I'd never breathe right again. Everyone leaned in, but I do now, deeper, slower, stronger. A long exhale. The girl who left me on my wedding day, she taught me how to fall, but she also gave me the reason to rise. And now, she's not the reason I cry. My voice didn't shake. Not anymore. She's the reason I breathe.